The Adventures of Smallpox-kun by Lea Ormandy and that other guy. This is Smallpox-kun. He is a virus, also known as variola. This is what he looks like. He has a double-layered outer membrane, lateral bodies with unknown function, and a dumbbell-shaped core with all his important stuff inside. Smallpox is spread through the mouth and nose secretions of infected people. Once inhaled, the virus invades mucous membranes, then makes its way into the lymph nodes. From there, Smallpox-kun will spread throughout the body and multiply rapidly. Very rapidly. He enters the bloodstream and multiplies in the spleen, bone marrow, and lymph nodes. With his army of brothers, he enters white blood cells and passes through adjacent cells of the dermis. After the incubation period, fever and flu-like symptoms begin. After a few more days, the fever ends and the characteristic rash begins. The lesions progress to pustules and then scab and scar. This is Bob. Unfortunately, Bob has contracted smallpox. He experiences necrosis in his digestive and respiratory tracts. His liver cells necrotize, his kidney hemorrhages, and his spleen becomes enlarged and engorged. Bob is not having a nice day. Actually, it's a pretty bad day. Meanwhile, Smallpox-kun thrives happily. This is the enemy, smallpox, and this is what he does. Smallpox was thought to have originated in India about 3,000 years ago and spread across the world via human migration, but archaeological evidence of the origin and spread is uncertain. Today, smallpox has been eradicated due to a global effort by the World Health Organization, and the only remaining stocks of the disease in the world are in the US and Russia. Credits. Yeah. The end. Bonus special jazz edition director's cut content? Oh snap. So smallpox produces over 200 different proteins and most of them have unknown functions. It's got some known virulence factors though. It's known to produce complement regulatory proteins that cleave C3b and C4b and it inhibits the complement response. That's pretty good for smallpox. It's not so great for smallpox's millions of victims since it began 3,000 years ago though. 30% of them died, 80% are permanently scarred, and 50% are blinded. No effective treatment was ever developed. Smallpox was eventually eradicated though, and it started in 1798 when Edward Jenner realized that people that are inoculated with cowpox are immune to smallpox. And then in 1967, the World Health Organization began their campaign to eradicate smallpox from the world. It worked by monitoring outbreaks, containing them, immunizing the affected population, and eventually over time it would eradicate the disease across the world. Ultimately, the eradication efforts were successful because there was no animal or environmental reservoir, there was an effective vaccine available, the disease was easy to diagnose and detect, and there was a very strong political backing because the disease was so devastating to the population. So that's it for Smallpox-kun, until World War III happens and the US and Russia kill each other with smallpox or something like that. The end. Hopefully.